Patrol, ladies and gentlemen. It's your boy Icon with DC TV, episode 10, Amends Patrol. We've reached the end. Season finale of Doom Patrol. So, the plans from last episode had, in true Doom Patrol fashion, the plans have turned to complete and utter shit. Because they were supposed to head down to Florida to go rescue Cliff, who got run up on by the Brain and by the Brotherhood of Evil. And then the bus exploded because, Kay ended up having having a panic attack down in the underground, which caused, this explosion thing to happen. I don't know, the girl probably got powers now. It flipped the bus over. Everybody ended up on the street, and they were basically stopped dead in their tracks now before they can get to Florida to save Cliff. Rita, who's still hell-bent on revenge, Rita of all people, tries to rally the troops to get everybody to get back up. Now, Jane was knocked unconscious because she was in the underground talking to all the different trying to talk to the different personas. Well, she was trying to talk to Kay too, and then she tried to get to Kay, but she couldn't get to Kay because there was a brick wall, like an avalanche, like in gravel that was in the way. Then Rita was talking to Vic, and then she was just like, "Oh, Victor," she's like, "Victor, we must go down to Florida and we must save Cliff." And then and then Vic told her, he was just like, "Look," but he's like, "Look, woman," he's like, "I don't know if you've been paying attention." He's like, "But the bus is totaled. Larry's having issues because the negative spirit worm thing keeps zapping him. Jane's knocked out, and I don't have my cyborg tech." And he was just like, "Yo, it's a wrap. Like, the mission's a wrap." And she's like, "So we're just going to give up on Cliff?" And then he was just like, "Yo, there's nothing else that we can do." And then she was just like, "Oh, we got to be better." She's like, "We have to be better." She's like, "We must save the day. We must rise to the occasion." And then Cyborg was like, "Yo, first of all, when all of a sudden were you on board with the superhero thing?" Because Cyborg was like, "I've been trying to get you on board with this for like 2 years." And he said, "You and I have always argued this point back and forth since day one." And he said, "For the first time, I finally understand your side of it." He said, he was like, "Woman, we are not a super team." He said, we are no longer superheroes." And then she was just like, "Yes, because of the choices that you made." And then he was like, "Yo, but we got to face facts." He was like, "Yo, we ain't doing nothing. We can't save Cliff." It's like, we're not built for this. Like, literally, like, we're not built for this. And then, Rita decided, at that point, she was just like, oh, she's just going to go off on her own and do everything herself. And then the mist kicked in. Like, Jane woke up at one point, and then when Jane woke up, Rita went over to Jane, and then she was like, "Come on, Jane." She was like, "Let's make it to Florida." And then Jane was like, "Bitch." She was like, "I ain't going to Florida." She's like, "Yo, I'm going home." You know what I'm saying? Like, Rita, like, Jane was like, "Yo, I'm going home." She was like, "It's a wrap. Like, we lost." And then, so Rita now, like, she's upset because she's just like, "Oh, that's not what she wants. She had to get her hands on Madame Rouge." And then the fog kicked in, and then, what is it, Mist? The woman, the gray-haired woman from Dada, her name was Mist, or I think her name was Fog, actually. She shows up, and she snatches up the Doom Patrol. And then, because her and Rita got into it, she was just like, "No." She was like, "Whatever plans you have." She was like, "Don't do it." And then, the woman told her, she was like, "Listen," she said, "the internal flagellation did wonders for the world. Like, it saved a lot of people. It turned a bunch of people around." And then she was like, "Not Madame Rouge." And then she was like, "She escaped unscathed." And then she was like, "But you don't know that, though." She said, "You don't know what happened to Madame Rouge in the internal flagellation." But she was like, "Yo, we won, and you're still trying to carry out this petty revenge." And then Rita was just like, "No, pish tosh, I will go down to Florida, and I'll get my revenge." So Rita dipped, and she went to Florida. The rest of the gang got sucked up into the mist, and they ended up in the Sisterhood. While they were in the Sisterhood, Jane bumped into the other personas, and then her and Hammerhead got into it, and then what the mist had told her, what Fog had told her, when Kay decided that she no longer wanted the personas there and she no longer wanted them around, the Sisterhood of Dada, Fog specifically, swooped in and snatched the personas out of Kay's, out of the underground, out of Kay's mind, and they brought them into the Sisterhood, so this way they can get out and they can be protected. But there was an unfortunate side effect, because since the underground collapsed, and because they're no longer in it and they lost their connection to it, the personas actually started dying. There were 3 of them that were on gurneys, and then they were fading away in the dust. And then the one girl who was being a total biatch the entire season, the one with the black dress and the doll looking thing, she was like, "Oh, I'm sorry, Jane." She was like, "I just didn't want to be alone." And I was like, "It's too little, don't apologize." So I was like, "Don't apologize." But she started turning to dust, and then Jane started talking to the therapist, and she was just like, "Yo, what up?" She was like, "This is what you always wanted." She was just like, "You don't care if we all turn to dust. You're just happy to have control and have power over the other personas." And then she was just like, that's not, she's like, we got to go back and we got to save the girl. And then, she was just like, oh, we're not going back because the girl doesn't want us. And then Jane was like, what do I have to do to get you to get the other personas to go back to the underground and help the girl? And then, that's when the scene cut. We didn't get to see what happened. So then in the next scene, like all the personas, they're sitting there, like everybody's back at the underground now. But again, the underground got cut off because of the avalanche. So then I forgot the black woman, the black woman with the ski hat. She was just like, it's my time to shine, baby. And then she rallied everybody to burrow their way through and to take down like the stones and the gravel and everything to fight through. Hammerhead ended up talking to Jane, and then she was just like, first of all, she's like, the therapist is down here. She was like, yeah, what did you have to give up in order for the therapist to bring everybody back? And then, Jane didn't say anything, but then she was just like, what the fuck? She's like, did you let her become primary? And then she was like, is that even, she's like, can you even do that? And then she was just like, I don't know, but she said, but this is what's best for the girl. But she never actually said what was promised of her, which I thought was very interesting. But then an earthquake happened. And then when the earthquake happened, Hammerhead was like, yo, you got to go up there. And then, like the therapist was like, no, she's like, let's just finish, like clearing the path in order for us to get back to the underground. And my whole thing to her is, because she was like, oh, that's going on topside. It's none of our business, none of our concern. I don't understand how you going to say that when the body of Kay exists in the real world. So if something happens to her body, you all are gone. So I'm just like, you need to protect the outside world. You need to protect Earth because Earth is protecting the girl. Hammerhead told Jane to go upstairs and protect the girl. So Jane ran upstairs, ran upstairs. Jane ran up to the primary position so she can go, help everybody and figure out what was going on. Cyborg, Victor, Larry Victor, the librarian looking chick, like in the underground, and some of the Dada girls, they were there and they were trying to help Larry because Larry was being burnt. Larry felt like he was being attacked by the worm and everything. But then one of the girls, she was just like, oh, I can understand many different languages. And she said that first of all, the spirit's name is Keith or something like that, Keek. But then like what the woman said was, she said that he's trying to bond with you. He needs to bond with you, otherwise he's gonna die. And the Larry was like, no, we're not doing that. He was like, I already had one bonding experience. He's like, I don't need to. We're not doing the bonding thing. And then that's when Victor stepped in, and I thought this is interesting because Vic doesn't have his cybernetics anymore. He's no longer a cyborg. So he has to find new ways to contribute to the team, or to contribute to the show. And I think he found his way by being like the general, so to speak, and like rallying the troops and everybody, because he had a long talk with Larry. He was like, first of all, in the internal flagellation, he was like, you're not the type of person that's going to abandon the negative spirit, because if that was the case, you would have left it in the woods. He was like, two, when you had your internal flagellation situation, he said you spoke to yourself and you told yourself that your biggest problem is that you don't know how to let love in. This spirit, like the negative spirit, chose you to carry it, to carry the seed, or to carry the child. The negative spirit, like the spirit, this baby spirit coming out of this cocoon, this baby spirit wants to merge with you. It wants to be a part of you. Or you said your biggest problem was you don't know how to let love in. He was like, well, let it in. Then when he said that, they were just like, Larry came around. He was like, all right, fine. He was like, I'll let it in. But the spirit couldn't get in because he was wearing the bandages, and the bandages are radiation proof. So Victor decided he was going to take the negative spirit into his body and transport it back to the mansion so Larry can take off the bandages in his radiation room, and then the spirit can merge with him. And that was a nice moment, like, because you rarely see like Victor and Larry like have conversation together. So to see the two of them actually like share a moment, I thought that was actually pretty cool. But now we've abandoned the Florida thing and everybody's on their way back to the mansion now. Madame Rouge now, she's tied to a gurney, and Malik is there, and he's just like, oh, the brain is no longer. He basically, Malik, or whatever, Malefak. Basically, the monkey, the gorilla, he was perfectly fine being retired and living with the brain in the retirement home. The fact that the brain now wants to rekindle like world domination, the gorilla was like, yo, I'm not feeling that. And he said that, I've given my life to the Brotherhood of Evil, but he was like, it's time for me to seek a new path. And then Madame Rouge was like, well, why don't you untie me then, you sack of shit? And then he was just like, nah, because his whole thing was, he knew if he untied her, she was going to attack him. So he left her tied to the gurney with Cliff's brain in a jar. And then he was like, you're very resourceful, you'll figure it out. And then he dipped on her and left her to her own devices. And he did that on purpose because, again, he's not feeling the whole evil thing. Like he was fine being retired, but in order for him to have the brain back as his friend, the brain needs to be taken out. So he put Madame Rouge in that position on purpose, hoping she would figure out the necessary formula to take down the brain, and that's exactly what she did. Because when she was trying to break herself free, Cliff's brain had fell over the cliff. I don't know why the glass didn't shatter, but his brain fell over a cliff and it landed in a ditch. She looked over into the ditch and she saw a gigantic metal robot. The brain now, he's like living the good life. Like he's on campus, he's dancing with women, partying, getting his shine on, doing every single thing he could do. He's on a golf course now, trying to get his golf on, driving a golf cart. And then all of a sudden out of nowhere, the big gigantic robot that Madame Rouge saw got on the golf course and started coming after the brain. Because I guess it was a robot that the brain used to use at one point, and when the brain was in like the little glass jar, the Roomba looking thingy where he drives around, if you take him and put him inside that robot, he can control the entire robot. And because the thing needs brain power in order to work, Madame Rouge put Cliff's brain into the brain's original metal body and then put the brain's metal body into the big robot. So now Cliff is Cliff is powering the new robot. And Madame Rouge, she's using the robot to exact her revenge. So while Cliff's body with the brain in it was trying to run for his life, Madame Rouge basically stepped on the brain and crushed the brain in Cliff's body. And Cliff even said, he was like, was that the sound of my one and only body being crushed to pieces? And then Madame Rouge was like, yes, and now it's time to go to Doom Manor to get my hands on Rita Farr. And this was the moment where Cliff actually evolved as a character, because he actually tried to talk to Madame Rouge and talk her down from getting her revenge. And he was just like, listen, he said, I've made a lot of mistakes with a lot of people, and I'm trying to be better. I want to be better, and I'm doing everything in my power to be better. He was like, there's good in you too. He said, there's a good person in you too. You just have to find it, and you just have to want to change and want to be better. But then Madame Rouge was like, no, sorry, can't do it. She's like, I have to get my revenge. And then Cliff, he just yelled at, he was like, stop, and then when he said stop, the robot stopped. And then he was like, okay, go. And then the robot started walking. And then now, because Cliff is powering the robot, Cliff's brain activity now is controlling the robot, and Madame Rouge is no longer in control. And then Madame Rouge got mad. She took a hammer and she told Cliff, she was like, oh, give me control again or I'll kill you. And then he was like, you're going to kill me? He said, I'm already dying. I have Parkinson's. So he was like, go ahead, do it. And then, she didn't do it. And then she felt bad. And then Cliff was like, see, he said, the fact that you didn't try to kill me means that you do want to be good and you do want to be redeemed. But then Madame Rouge was like, no. And then she jumped out of the robot and then she flew away. So now Cliff is controlling the robot, and he was like, I don't even know what to do now. He ends up going to his daughter's house. And when he went to his daughter's house, he apologized to her and told her that, that he'll change and he'll be better. Meanwhile, the entire neighborhood is watching this gigantic big ass robot just sitting on the front lawn. And then after that, I guess Cliff decided to go back to Doom Manor now and be with the team, or to see what was going on with the team, or to help out the team. But basically he dipped. After he spoke to his daughter and apologized, he went back to Doom Manor as well. Madame Rouge then went back to the special room that the Sisterhood of Dada, used to hang out and used to go in. And then she was dancing, she was doing the stupid, love me, hate me. And then she saw a room that she never saw before. And when she saw the room, she walked over into the room, and then she saw the time machine. Because in the last episode, when Rita had confronted her, she was like, oh, where's my time machine? And she was like, someplace you'll never find it. Because she figured Madame Rouge would never think to look back at that moment, because being back in that room would bring up too many bad memories. But she did go back to the room, and she did find the time machine. So she jumps in the time machine now, and now she's basically trying to figure out what to do with her life. The time-traveling time machine voiceover guy started talking to her, and then he was just like, Madame Rouge hasn't realized yet that the events of the past can't be changed, and they're set in stone and they're fixed in stone. And then she got mad. She was like, well, what the hell am I supposed to do, damn it? And then he was just like, oh, let me show you. And then then she ended up going through the time machine, and I guess she was, because she wasn't, I guess she went 10-15 minutes into the future, because she basically went through time, and then she reappeared in front of Doom Manor. So when she was coming out through Doom Manor, there was an earthquake that was happening. And then when the earthquake happened, at that point, Victor had already brought Larry back to the room. And then Larry took off his bandages, and the negative spirit baby ended up merging with Larry. But then because the earthquake happened, Victor ran outside. He ran past Jane. Jane had woke up because she finally got, to the primary position. And then Jane and Cyborg both ran outside on the front lawn. And then they saw Madame Rouge coming out of the time machine. When Madame Rouge came out of the time machine, she was just like, oh, I don't know you. She's like, who are you? Who are you people? And then they both pointed, because she had a note on her jacket. And then it was a note that she wrote to herself, because she knew she would forget everything and she would lose her memories. So then after she was reading the note, she was just like, oh yes, she was like, your name is Madame Rouge and you are a horrible person, but you're trying to be better. She was like, you know, you're at Doom Manor and there's people there that you need to help and you need to assist them. She was like, there's Jane who dresses like a homeless puppet. Then she's like, then there's Victor Stone who has a stick up his ass. And then she was like, then there's Larry Train. I forgot, she called him Kojo or something like that. And then at that moment Cliff showed up. And then when Cliff showed up, she was like, oh, Cliff Steele. She was like, drunken adult robot. But then he popped up in the big robot and everybody was like, yo, what the hell? You know, but then he was just like, oh, because of his Parkinson's, he can't control the robot anymore. And now the robot's out of control. The robot started like spinning out of control and it ended up heading towards the town where it could hurt and harm the townspeople. Jane and Victor, they ran off, you know, to try to like, you know, go stop Cliff and go save Cliff. Well, Jane actually used Flint to disappear and reappear inside the robot. Larry came out of the house because now he can glow thanks to the new power of the new negative spirit. It's not a situation now where the negative spirit comes out of Larry's body. Larry and the negative spirit have actually joined to be one. And then that made me think, whatever happened to the girl who had a female negative spirit in her body? The one that, you know, told Larry he should go to outer space to begin. Like, whatever happened to her? Like, I thought that was going to be a thing. Like, I thought that whole thing with the two of them, the four of them, whatever, I thought that was going to be a thing and it never turned into anything. So hopefully that comes back at, you know, in season 4 because I kind of wanted to see where that whole thing was going. But in true Doom Patrol fashion, as Larry is like glowing with negative spirit energy, he's flying through the air and then he crash landed and fell flat on his face because again, he's dealing with a negative spirit baby. And because he's dealing with a negative spirit baby, the power isn't there yet and the two of them still need more time to like strengthen themselves and, you know, to get their bond going. Victor decided, you know, then Madame Rouge had said to Victor, she was like, oh, what do you do again? And then he was like, I'm still trying to figure it out. She's like, ah, you're useless. I got it. And then Victor was just like, screw that. And then he ended up running to go after Cliff, you know, to go after Cliff and to go after Jane. While Jane was in the robot, she was trying to get it to turn off, and then she flipped the wrong switch, and she accidentally hit the self-destruct lever. So now, not only is his body going to be, you know, not only is Cliff's body going to explode, but it's going to explode in the town with a bunch of innocent people. So Victor's chasing after him. Jane said that she's not going to leave Cliff's side. I don't know, Larry was probably still laying in the grass. And then Madame Rouge was just like, oh, I could help, you know, like let me help. And then, you know, then she ended up like running towards the robot so she can try to help. When Rita went to Florida, she bumped into the Brain who was in Cliff's broken body now because since Madame Rouge had stepped on him, it broke his legs and like kind of damaged his arms. And then when Rita realized that that was the Brain, you know, she put him in a chair. The two of them had a conversation. The Brain told Rita, he was like, oh, you know, like if you join me, I'll help you be evil. And then she was like, oh, it's funny. She was like, I actually don't need your help for that. And then she took a pot of scalding hot water and literally poured it on the Brain. Like poured it on his brain. So I guess she killed the Brain. Like he go. There's no way his brain survived that. That was scalding hot water. He gone. And then that's when Rita ended up making her way back to Doom Manor. So then when Madame Rouge started running after Cliff and after Victor to, you know, to go stop Cliff from going into the town, Rita showed up and yoked him up and put her hands around her. And then she was like, I'm going to kill you, bitch, because you killed the love of my life. And then Madame Rouge had read on the paper that she did Rita dirty because she said, like, you killed the love of her life. So she already knew that. But then when Rita showed up and then she was like, oh, you must be Rita. And then she tried to look at the paper. Rita was like, don't look at your notes. And she was like, look at me, you know, and then she was just like, I've been waiting for this moment to kill you. And then Madame Rouge said something very interesting. She was just like, you know, you can kill me. You know, you can definitely kill me. She was like, you know, she said, I deserve it. She said, I did horrible things. Like, I betrayed a lot of people because she started getting some of her memories back. She's like, I betrayed a lot of people. So she was just like, yeah. She's like, I agree with you. I deserve to die. And then she was like, but, and then Rita was like, but what? She was like, but I'm not, she was like, but based on all the things that I've done, I'm not worth it. She was like, I'm not worth the time and the energy. She's like, I ain't shit. I'm not worth you, you know, you getting your hands dirty. I'm not worth you committing murder. And, you know, Rita kind of like felt bad, like in that moment. And then it cuts to Cliff, where Cliff and Jane said a nice little wholesome goodbye, where like she hugged him, and Cliff was just like, well, I'm going to explode any second now. And then just before he walked across, I think it was a baseball field, Rita embiggened herself, made herself larger, and then she stopped Cliff dead in his tracks. And when she stopped Cliff, I guess that stopped the self-destruction because they never spoke about the self-destruction after Rita stopped him from moving. But we did get a very cool line Because in season 1 of Doom Patrol, when they all went to the town and then everything turned to shit when they went to the town, one of the things that happened was Rita got out of control and turned into a blob and basically engulfed the entire town in her blobness. After she got finished blobbing out, I think it was Larry. It might have been Larry that she said it to. She looked at Larry and then she was just like, because she was upset. Like, she was very upset over everything that happened, and she was embarrassed and everything. And then she was just like, "Yo, can I just?" She was like, "Can we go home?" She's like, "Can I go home now?" No, she was like, "I want to go home." And then I think Larry was like, "I think we can do that." So in this moment, when Rita was the one who stopped Cliff dead in his tracks, Cliff looked at Rita. And he was just like, "Can I go?" He was like, "I want to go home." And then Rita said, she was like, "I think we can, man." They basically like repeated that whole scene, but instead of like Rita and Larry, it's now Cliff and Rita. And Rita the student has now become the teacher. And I thought that was actually done very well. That was very cool. So they bring everybody back to the mansion, and then they're on the news watching their destruction on the news, where they're just like, oh, like an out of control robot, was stopped by a group of like misfit superheroes or whatever. And then that's when Rita tries to pull everybody together, and then she's just like, oh, like we're doing, she's like, we're doing the superhero thing. She's like, we're a team. We can be a team. We can be a force for good. We can like basically be the Doom Patrol. And then like Cyborg's reaction was hilarious, because when Rita's sitting here just like, oh, we can be a team, we can be a group, we can be superheroes, we can save the world, he was like, yo, you wait till I get rid of all my tech to now all of a sudden get on board with this shit. But he was like, you know what? He was like, I'm in. He was just like, he said, I've been preaching this for the last 3 years. He was like, screw it. He was like, I'm in. Larry, he decided to do it too, because he was like, the negative spirit and I, like, as we're getting closer, we're getting to know each other a little bit more. He said, what the hell, why not? Let's try to do some good. And then Cliff was outside, because now he's a gigantic robot, so he can't go in the house. Cliff was just like, hell yeah, he was like, I'm totally in. He's like, let's do it, let's do it. And then Madame Rouge raised her hand, and Madame Rouge was like, oh, I'm in as well. And then and then Rita was just like, no, bitch. She was like, you can't join the team. But then Madame Rouge said, she was just like, well, I'm trying to get redemption. She was just like, I'm not a good person, but I'm trying to be one. She's like, I want to be one. And just like the rest of you, I feel like I deserve a chance to do that. Just like with Stargirl, when Cindy at the end of Stargirl said she wanted to join the JSA. I'm like, let these people try to redeem themselves. And it was nice that she said, just like the rest of you, I'm trying to seek redemption. So then Rita couldn't say no to that. And then she was like, fine. But, she's like, but this will be a good way for me to keep an eye on you. And then they asked Jane, they was like, so what's really good? And then Jane started laughing. Jane was just like, so we're really doing this. We're really going to be a superhero team. She was like, up and away and all that bullshit. And then they were just like, yeah. She was like, fuck it. She was like, I'm in. And then there was something on the TV where a giant nut monster, like a giant sack of balls, had crashed into the ocean. And then she was like, oh, this can be our first mission. She's like, we can go down there and thwart those balls, and then we can save all the people. And then they're just like, okay, but how are we going to get down there to save those people? And then, then Rita looked at Jane, and then she was just like, oh, do you think Flint can teleport us there? And then Jane passed out and went back to the underground. Because we found out, or I believe, this is what I believe. It wasn't that the psychiatrist wanted to be primary. I don't think that's what she asked for. She didn't ask to be primary. What she asked for, she told Jane she would bring everybody back down to the underground and be with Kay, as long as Jane comes into her and has therapy sessions with her. So this is her way, I guess, of trying to like rehabilitate Jane, or to get her to see it, because she's a therapist. Like, that's her job. That's her character job. Her job is to, is to bring people in for sessions and for talks. She's supposed to perform therapy. And Jane's the one person she wasn't able to do that with. So having Jane do the therapy is the therapist's way of getting control and like, keeping Jane in check. And I think that's going to evolve into something next season. And I still think Kay has power for some reason. I don't know why. But but because of that, Jane was out for the count. So, because she's in her therapy session, she wasn't able to, to be there when they travel to go stop the ball monster. So then Madame Rouge was just like, excuse me. She's like, I have an idea. And then her idea was, she attached Cliff to the time machine, and they're going to go 4 or 5 minutes into the future at the moment where, like the nut monster shows up in the ocean. So that's how they're going to travel there. They're basically just going to travel like four minutes into the future. And everybody was there, and then Cliff was just like, great, we're a superhero team. He's like, and I got the perfect name, we can be Doom Force. And I started rolling because I actually like Doom Force. I'm not gonna lie, nobody was feeling it. I actually like Doom Force. I feel like Doom Force is because they already had a Doom Patrol. There was a Doom Patrol back in the day that stopped the Brotherhood of Evil, so let them be the Doom Force. Like, I think that'd be cool. But everybody got in, everybody strapped in, and then when they were getting ready to pilot themselves back, to where the monster was, Madame Rouge was like, oh, excuse me. She's like, I think it'll be best if I'm the one that controls the monster. And then Rita was like, you'll control nothing. And I was like, well, damn. She's like, you're lucky to even be here. And I was like, all right, girl, calm down. Like, Rita got beef. Like, she killed the man that she loves. So it does make sense. All systems were go. They burrowed through the thing, and they were just like, yo, let's go save the world. And then Cliff was like, yeah, Doom Force. And everybody was like, nah, so we're not doing that. And then they burrowed through the ground, and they went to go save the day. So that's how the episode ended. That's how the season ended. And thank you for tuning in. So this was cool. They accomplished nothing. Like, the plan was to go down to Florida and kick the Brotherhood of Evil's ass and save Cliff. None of that happened. They got halfway there, then everybody had to turn around and go right back to the mansion, and the episode concluded with everybody doing mansion business. One of the things about the season I did not like, and if you've watched all 10 of my Doom Patrol reviews, you know what I'm about to say. The low light of the entire season, because I enjoyed the season. I love Madame Rouge. Madame Rouge is the MVP. You could have easily gone with Rita because the season was basically about Rita. It was all about Rita. But Madame Rouge brought something different to the table and brought something different to the show. And I appreciated what she brought to the show and what she brought to the table. Madame Rouge is my MVP for this season of Doom Patrol. The one thing about the season that I did not like is the Brotherhood of Evil. They did nothing. They performed nothing. And then when the brain stole Cliff's brain and put his brain in Cliff's body, that made me feel like the Brotherhood of Evil was actually going to do something worthwhile, and then that turned out to be complete boulder dash. And it's very disappointing. They're too comical. The Brotherhood of Evil is too comical, and I understand they're retired. I understand they're a group of like retired villains, but it was just way too comical, and they didn't even do anything. And like, he did this whole thing about stealing Cliff's body, and then Madame Rouge squashed him and took him out in like 2 seconds. Like there was like Malik, like he dipped on, like I said, the Brotherhood of Evil was very disappointing, but everything else was gold. Like, everything else was gold. And then, I'd like to see what goes on with the Sisterhood of Dada, if the Sisterhood of Dada continues, because Jane even had a conversation with the Fog where she was like, oh, did you bring the personas in because they really needed help, or just to draw me into the Sisterhood? And then she was just like, oh, whichever answer gets you to see me again. So I don't know if that was like some lesbian mess going on, or if she just like thinks Jane's interesting, just wants her to join the Sisterhood. The black dude who's in the Sisterhood of Dada that has like the little wind thingies on his back, he played Tyrone's father on Cloak and Dagger on Marvel. So if you ever watch Cloak and Dagger, the black dude with the wind things, that's Tyrone's dad. I was like, I knew I recognized him, I just couldn't put my finger on. So yeah, so I said, but that was it. Like, it was fun. I mean, I don't know what's going on with Niles. I don't know what's going on with Dorothy. Like, because that should still be a thing. Like, Dorothy should still be a thing. I don't know if Niles is still with the bootleg Constantine guy. I actually forgot what happened to him in that episode, and we never really got answers about Rita seeing her ex-lover in the afterlife. So a lot of things got left on the table, and then Cyborg's still not a cyborg. So he didn't Cyborg didn't get his cybernetics back. Like at the end of the season, he's still Victor Stone. So. But like he said that he does have the metal underneath him. I feel like at some point next season, something bad is going to happen. Victor's going to sacrifice himself to save the team, and then his dad's going to put him back together as Cyborg. Because it's like, we got to get Cyborg. Like, we can't have Doom Patrol without Cyborg. Booyah. So like I said, share your thoughts and your questions below. Let me know who you thought was the MVP of the season. Let me know what you thought. Did you like how it ended? Did you not like how it ended? Do you think it should have gone a different way? And what are some questions and comments and hopes that you feel will happen in season 4 when season 4 comes out? Check me out on Twitter Check me out on Instagram as always, guys. You know, leave a comment, like, and or subscribe. Go to Imaginative Visions on YouTube and check out the interview that I did with Justin where he interviews like indie talent such as myself. Great interview, and I really enjoy doing it, and I hope to do it again someday. You know, like I said, hit the notification bell so you get notified when my other videos come up. I mean, this whole week, Doom Patrol's gone, Stargirl's gone, we lost Supergirl forever, but we still got Batwoman, we still got Legends of Tomorrow, we still got Young Justice, and next week we got the Flash Armageddon crossover, so we still got 4 episodes in the chamber, and for you Marvel fans, Hawkeye's supposed to come out at some point, and we'll do that too. So thanks for tuning in, guys. Everybody that took the Doom Patrol journey with me for all 10 episodes, I love you all, I appreciate you. I hope to see you for season 4 of Doom Patrol. So till next time, for some Doom Patrol action, for the Sisterhood of Dada, and for the actual Doom Patrol now, we got the real Doom Patrol going forward, and for the Doom Force. Take care, and until next time, I'm out this.